Now, a recent New South Wales Business Chamber review found that 80% of Australian SMBs targeted by a cyber attack go bankrupt within a year. I know, that's pretty amazing. Mick Esber is head of technology at global cybersecurity firm Wontok. He says that the sector needs a dedicated cybersecurity chair for Australian SMBs and support from governments. Mick joins us now in the studio to take us through his views. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you in, Mick. Now, one of the other things you mentioned was the tax deductibility around this. When I read that, I thought, isn't that already a business expense that businesses can claim as a tax deduction? What are you sort of trying to say there?
I think there is a broader lot of obviously services and other things of applications that is an expense to business, and seen small business especially as a barrier to entry. So it's like, I think for me the key part of the message of that is there is a lot you can already deduct to things like, especially with the budgets that's come out, and I think, which is great, but I think it's that bit of more of how do you lower that bar so that businesses not only get the training, education and those tools that they need for small businesses that were 6 months ago weren't online. They had no digital footprint. So this is a revolution for them. It's a very big change. Bless my mum didn't do internet banking before March, and it was a big deal for her and us. And imagine small businesses out there which were, their shop front was, the door they could lock. Now this is the new shop front door that they have is now in everyone's pocket. So it's a big change from just a business perspective, and obviously with that, those new opportunities become risks. And helping and advocating, I think the key point of the article I had was just really the small business has gone for a big change, and they need a bit of a champion to sort of help sort of steward them through this period of change and really becoming digital online businesses. And it's going to be, as the Treasurer said, it's going to be a business-led recovery. We need businesses to be global. Best way to be global is be online. You are a global business then, and help businesses do that and grow and hopefully become much more successful and not get targeted. And like you said, small businesses that get hit don't come back. Bigger businesses are more resilient. They have resources in place of security strategies. Small businesses don't have any in many cases.
So is the problem when a small business suffers a cybersecurity attack, and why it's just so deadly for their business, is they don't really know where to go to get help and how to go about it?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of all of those things, and just not being prepared or understanding what those risks are. And I think, the example for me is, with a shop, you can physically lock the shop, that it's closed, right? And you know that you're not going to be robbed of that stuff. So how do I know that the website I have or the app that I have isn't open to fraud or things like that? Or how do I deal with, for example, being someone ransomware of that stuff? How do I deal with that? But I might get a bad phone call. How do I do that versus in the physical world? So I think that businesses are very good at understanding physical risks, but they don't understand those logical risks that they've now put themselves in by becoming an online business. And understanding those, then they can then put in measures in place to then protect themselves. They don't need like full security teams or things like that, but it's just very basic things you can do. Like, for example, for myself, I have with my wallet, I have stops an NFC type people being able to tap and rob me, for example, just with my wallet. So I've got security controls around my wallet. Why would you do it around your business? So understanding two-factor authentication on internet banking, for example, have you got that set up? Things like that are very simple, but you need education and guidance of those things to be important.
So in this instance, the government's the one who needs to step up on this. And we have someone like Kate Carnell or Pete, all of these people who are helping with small business to get them to gear up. You think the government has a bigger role to play in terms of driving this, and then we need this central body that small business can call to help out?
I think the short answer is yes, but I think it's a partnership with Business Together working with government on this. And I think, especially as the saying before, that the Treasurer is looking for a business-led recovery. If that's the case, then you really need to support business to help drive that and protect that downside. So I think it's a real partnership there, I would say. I'd say certainly the government has a big responsibility to help small business to really be in a position where they don't be part of a bigger risk. Obviously, there's broader by protecting small businesses of that stuff, then overall protection of Australia is protected. So I think there is a kind of, a thing at play where you getting the overall group of us, you're only as strong as your weakest link at that stuff. So other small businesses get hit, then that will then entice other businesses to get hit. So if we're all strong as an economy, then we're going to be in a better place. So, but again, I think it's a partnership of both sides to work together.
But in terms of practical things that you think the government could bring in a relatively short period of time, the tax deductions of the education, I guess some consulting there, a chair of some kind of security body to oversee it, but also a hotline.
Absolutely. I think, in the example you said before, something happens, what do I do? Like your laptop gets taken over at work at your office and it's got ransomware and stuff with it. How do I deal with that? It's now blocked, and what things should I do? And sometimes, just going on the internet looking at some FAQs is enough. Having someone human to talk to you about this stuff, because small business owners aren't like me, technology people, right? Understanding stuff in terms they can understand, working with them with their problems and supporting them, so they don't go out of business. So we make sure we have enough support to prevent those circumstances where businesses are attacked and actually have to go out of business.
We've seen this massive spike in cybersecurity breaches and fraud and all that sort of thing happening over the last 6-7 months.
Absolutely.
What has Wontok been saying?
For us, I think a big thing is around ransomware as being an increase. I think it's huge. I think that's a number that's massive. I think just on scams this year, we're already over 100 million and 120,000 different cases across Australia. It's a record. It's a very large number of stuff that we have there. Obviously, with businesses going online, cyber criminals have seen that as an opportunity. I think that's absolutely clear, and that there's a need to respond to that. And small, medium businesses are the ones that have historically not had as much armaments to protect themselves there. But the top end of town has realised these problems for a long while. Small and medium businesses now have increased that footprint, so they're now potentially a greater target. So I think you can see that in the number of breaches and scams that are out there. Small and medium business being hit quite heavily in the last 6 months.
Yeah, Mick Esber from Wontok, thanks for coming in to tell us about that. Cybersecurity is an ongoing vigilance, and thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mick.